changed, as we're well aware. But there are climate change deniers in the room. I'm happy to talk with you. I get a lot of that, so feel free to speak up. Yes, sir.
On the list of plants and trees and when they bloom and such, when was that produced?
This was produced in the 1950s. This particular chart is telling you if you want red fruit in your garden, and you want red fruit in a particular month during the summer, what to plant and when you can expect that red fruit. And that there's chart after chart like that. It's really sort of anal compulsive. But of course that all changed. It's all been changing gradually, but it's changing at an increasing rate. And I don't think I have to say very much about this. Disturbance has become the dominant theme within our environmental experience. And these are all kinds of disturbances that we can see with our eyes. And what do we see just when we drive around our communities? What's some of the change that we see? And as I mentioned, I work with the Arnold Arboretum. And we had a Lilac Sunday, which is a Sunday event when it seems like the whole city of Boston comes to see our lilacs. There's a magnificent collection there. We have about 50,000 people who come to see them. And when the event started in the 1890s, Lilac Sunday was on the 4th Sunday in May. It is now on, I think, the 1st Sunday in May. Plants in New England are blooming 12 days earlier than they were 50 years ago. That's right. In some cases, they are blooming 25 days earlier. And that's a huge, huge shift in the ecosystem. There are all sorts of downstream impacts and consequences that come from those earlier blooming times. In Santa Benito, you may have heard about this. Cherries need a certain amount of chill, winter chill, in order to bear fruit. So in 2015, I believe, the cherry crop in Santa Benito was 5% of normal, because winter chill was 50% of normal. So these huge, huge changes that are affecting our economy, affecting our way of life. It's a very, very particular time in the world. What I see when I drive around, I live in Altadena, which is just north of Pasadena, and what I see when I drive around, the liquid amber that has been our reliable source of fall color for so long, weakened by drought, is becoming more susceptible to disease. And then stalwarts of our dry Mediterranean climate, like the deodar cedar, I'm seeing dead cedars everywhere. And even plants that I consider to be ironclad, like the Afghan pine, Pinus alderica, they are succumbing. I drove past the Rancho Park golf course on my way here, and I saw lots of dead redwoods. Well, that's to be expected. But these trees, this is the surprise to see them go. But again, we've had this terrible drought. And you may be familiar with the work of Will Steffen. He, along with a team of international scientists, has documented all the changes that are occurring right now. This is 1750 to 2015. And he has socioeconomic trends and Earth system trends. But never before has the world changed at this pace. And you can get this online, and it's phenomenal to look at. Practically every metric you could gather of our atmosphere, our biosystems is shifting very, very quickly. Hold on. And what I like to do is just take species extinction as a proxy for environmental change, because that pretty much tells the story. How quickly are we wiping out the other species that live on this planet? And you can see what's happening. And what I like to do, to sort of put this in a more human scale of time, my birth of my grandfather in 1900, the birth of our hypothetical grandson in 2015, 5 human generations, and the world's become an entirely different place. And in my field, there's a lot of wringing of hands and gnashing of teeth, because we're facing such incredible challenges. But at the same time, what a remarkable time to be alive. No human being in recorded human history has ever seen what we're seeing right now. And I see it at the Arboretum on a daily basis. I look for it. So what's the future of California landscape with all of these changes happening? My staff likes to refer to this as the Arizona drive-through liquor store landscape. And they are utterly determined that this not be our future. They are crusaders. And so what are we doing? One of the things that we're doing is fostering water awareness. And to really understand water awareness, I would recommend a book to you called Let There Be Water by Seth Siegel. It's about what the Israelis have done to conserve water. And if California were to do what the Israelis have done over the past 50 years, we would never have to worry about water again. Israel has become an exporter of water. They become an exporter of water conservation technology. I mean, the solutions are in hand. It's just the will to implement them. It's really amazing. So what we're doing is, given our location, we have to reach a lot of people who don't care about water conservation. They don't care about the environment. But what they do care about is how much they're spending on their water bill every month. So we've had great success having workshops on retrofitting your irrigation system. A simple retrofit of your irrigation system, reducing water pressure, and going to these MP3 sprinkler heads, you can save up to 30% on your water bill. So we've convinced a lot of folks to make these kinds of simple changes. And by the way, this is just an example of the kinds of plants. We did a survey of our public through the Los Angeles Times. It was an online survey. And so many people talk to us about California native plants. But there are 4 other Mediterranean climate regions of the world that contribute equally adapted plants. And this particular garden is a combination of plants from those 5 regions of the world, including California. But you can have color throughout the year, a gorgeous garden using adapted plants. So 30% of the water coming through your tap comes from the groundwater resources. It comes from the aquifer. The storage capacity of the aquifers in California is 10 times the storage capacity of surface reservoirs. So one of the things we're doing and other people are doing is encouraging people to keep water where it falls. And we have across the Arboretum demonstrations of swales, little vernal pools, of settling ponds, where you can capture the water that falls on your property and recharge the aquifer. Imagine if 100,000 homeowners in Los Angeles decided that rather than have the water run off their property into the street or into the gutter, that they were going to keep it on site and put it in one of these swales or one of these rain gardens and watch it percolate down into the ground. It would have a huge impact. And a lot of these are quite attractive. So we have a number of them. We have workshops on how to create these in your garden. And if you do it right, it is a beautiful part of your garden. Some of these are under construction. They became much more attractive after they were planted. But again, recharging the groundwater, recharging our aquifers is critically important going forward. And then creating value drop by drop. Again, this is realizing the preciousness of water. How do you use every drop in your household? My wife is from Massachusetts, and she never grew up having to worry about water. And I just gave up trying to get her to think about it. But I think that's how a lot of people are who grew up with an abundance of water. You just turn on the faucet, you brush your teeth, the faucet is running. So how do you acquire this incredible awareness? And in Israel, one of the ways they've done it is that they're charging people water users, the actual cost of water. You think we can get away with that here? People actually pay the cost of water what it costs the government to make it available, and that's helped. But in this landscape, we took an acre that had been Bermuda grass for 50 years and created a wildflower meadow. And we had birds and insects come into our landscape we had never seen before. And to watch these children be captivated by the insect life and the bird life of this landscape. This is a white-lined sphinx moth caterpillar. They were grazing in this landscape like cattle. They were everywhere. And we said to ourselves, who's going to eat the white-lined sphinx moth caterpillar? And I wish I'd been there. What happens is they get fat and happy, and then they crawl and dig a hole in which they pupate, and then they emerge a moth. So they had to cross a road to get to the part of the soil where they wanted to dig. And a red-tailed hawk nesting nearby came down on that road and was hopping like a robin, gobbling these caterpillars. I wish I had a picture. So the food pyramid at play at the LA County Arboretum. And then one thing that's happened with this drought is this idea that all lawns are bad. And when I first started at the Arboretum, this is the lawn you see when you drive up to the Arboretum. And I thought to myself, well, that's not a very good example that we have this thirsty lawn. It's the first thing you see when you come to the Arboretum. But then I began watching what happens at lunchtime. We have 16,000 school kids a year come to the Arboretum, most from Title I schools, most from the urban core. And what I realized watching the kids at lunchtime is that a lot of these kids come from communities where there are no lawns. And it's like they never run on a lawn before, the sheer joy on their faces. So this is a lawn worth keeping. This lawn's not going anywhere. So it's not that all lawns are bad. What kind of value does your lawn deliver? What does it do for you? What does it do for your community? Soil is a big, big part of our thinking for the future. And at the Arboretum, when it was constructed, they brought in heavy earth-moving equipment. And the soil genome of the Arboretum was practically, it was erased. We lost all the living soil. And the way to think about soil is that we know more and more about the fauna and flora of our bodies, right? If you have the right mix of organisms inside you and outside of you, you're healthy. I'm sure you've all read that kind of research. Well, it's the same thing with soil. If you have the right balance of organisms within your soil, you're going to have a productive, lush plant growth. You're going to have happy plants, happy organisms, happy urban ecosystems. So the rebuilding of the soil has become a major activity at the Arboretum. And this is Crescent Farm with the help of the Cat Foundation. We created a landscape devoted to water conservation. And I did not anticipate this, but soil building became a huge theme within this project, which is now in its 3rd year. And these are the Crescent Farmers. This is a new species of horticulturist at the Arboretum. And what's new about them is that their job is to be gardeners. But equally important, their job is to call out to everyone who walks by, let me show you this. Let me show what we're doing to capture groundwater, rainwater. Let me introduce you to this plant. So they're constantly reaching out and grabbing our visitors. And these are folks who have a passion for sustainable gardening and also love people. And so it really kind of works. Sometimes I want them to do more weed, but the outreach is important. And one of the things that we're doing to build soil is lasagna mulching. Any lasagna, you probably know lasagna mulching. So you do what we call dumpster diving. We have a team that goes out to dumpsters in the neighborhood, and they come back with discarded cardboard. And what you do is you cover your soil. In fact, we've gotten rid of lawns this way. We've gotten rid of over 4 acres of lawn. You cover your soil or your lawn area with that cardboard. You put mulch on top. You make sure it's really, really wet. And then it all just decomposes. And you end up with a very, very rich organic layer in your soil. And you're putting a lot of cellulose into the soil. And this is what we like to see, mycelia running. Fungi play a very, very important role in the health of plants. They're essential in forming these relationships with the root systems of plants, mycorrhizae, which enable plants to get more water and more nutrients. So we're constantly encouraging fungal growth. And just to show you what happens with this kind of soil building, one of our surprises at Crescent Farm has been that soil building is a great path to water conservation. Because the more organic matter you have in your soil, the more water it's going to hold. And the healthier your plants are going to be, and the less you're going to have to water. And then I just want to make the point that there are a lot of new things happening with sustainability, but there are a lot of good old things too. This is hugelkultur. This is probably 500 years old, this practice from Germany and Eastern Europe. And it's a form of food gardening. And what you do is you take logs and you cover them with soil and organic matter. And then over time, those logs begin to rot. And as they rot, they become like sponges. They soak up water and they give it back to the soil. And then as they rot, they also begin to give organic matter to the soil, enhancing soil fertility. So the Hugel Gardens become a really, really successful part of the Crescent Farm. And again, it's an ancient technology. I also want to talk about living with new ecologies. Because of the relaxation of international trade barriers, increasingly efficient international shipping, increasingly inexpensive international shipping, we have more stuff moving around the globe than we've ever had before. And one of the consequences of that is that it's as if we took a major portion of the Earth's biodiversity and threw it up in the air like confetti. And where it's landing, we have entirely new ecosystems arising. Just to provide you with a little sense of what's coming in. This is from a study in 2005, I believe. The USDA at that time was able to inspect 2% of shipments coming into the United States. On those 2% of shipments, they intercepted 53,000 foreign organisms. You do the math, that's easily 3 million organisms a year coming into the United States. And it's impossible to control that situation. There's just so much stuff. And some of these things, of course, get established. And some of them cause problems, others do not. But scientists estimate that we're getting at least probably 10 new organisms. I mean, how do you know? But probably at least 10 new organisms establishing here every year. And it flows both ways. It's a two-way street. You want to see wonderful California poppies? You can go to Lompoc, you can go to the Antelope Valley, or you can go to Chile. California poppy is completely established and naturalized in coastal Chile. Probably the best displays of California poppy in the world right now in South America. So it's just not organisms coming here. We export too. And just to share a little story, the brave new ecology of these new ecosystems that are arising. These are two species from Amazonian South America. This is Samuel Ayres, one of the founders of the Arboretum. And one of the first trees he wanted to bring to the Arboretum was the silk floss tree. He imported, I think, 400 seed in 1952. And this is a magnificent tree. It blooms in the fall, absolutely beautiful. And it has become fairly commonly planted across Southern California. The yellow chevron parakeet came in as a pet for the pet trade in the 1960s, 1970s. There was a big escape in the San Gabriel Valley. No one knows where they came from. But suddenly there were more and more yellow chevron parakeets, and they were gathering on the silk floss tree. And what they were doing was recreating the ancestral relationship that's hundreds of thousands of years old from southern Brazil and Argentina in the San Gabriel Valley. And they're creating this whole new ecology.